Humans treat birth as a gentle, protected miracle. But in the wild, the moment an egg sac bursts open, the biological clock starts ticking on an immediate, high-stakes fight to stay alive. Imagine waking up in a confined space, completely trapped alongside hundreds of your siblings, only to realize you've been dropped into a literal death match. This is the exact, brutal reality for a newly hatched praying mantis. As soon as they emerge from the egg case, these newborns enter a hardening stage. For one grueling hour, they are completely frozen in place, unable to move a single muscle, surrounded by hundreds of their starving brothers and sisters. Then, the hour is up. All of their bodies thaw at the exact same moment. Instantly, the brood devolves into a frenzied war, tearing into each other and eating their own siblings alive to secure their first meal. This animation maps out what happens next. Out of a massive cluster of hundreds of hatchlings, the numbers rapidly dwindle. By the end, only about 10 to 20 individuals walk away from the massacre. For the mantis, their own family is their very first predator. Birth here is an immediate, unforgiving fight for survival, where you either fight back or become a meal. Sometimes the threat isn't your family. Sometimes the environment itself is a predetermined trap, like this jagged, desolate volcanic island. This is where the Galapagos marine iguana hatches, clawing its way up from beneath the dirt and into hostile terrain. The exact second the iguana's head breaches the surface, dozens of racer snakes instantly lock onto it and charge at full speed. There is zero learning curve. The newborn must instinctively sprint 100 feet across the razor-sharp rocks, actively dodging and fighting off piles of snakes ambushing it from every crevice. Looking at this data visualization, we see a batch of 20 hatchlings. Because of the sheer volume of predators, 19 are swiftly eliminated. Only one figure remains standing to make it to safety, a flat 5% chance of survival. In this specific gauntlet, evolutionary instinct has to be perfectly formed at second zero. A fraction of a second of hesitation guarantees death. Moving from remote islands to the African savanna, the terrain offers a completely different problem. There are 0 places to hide. The wildebeest is dropped directly into the chaotic center of a massive, actively moving herd. This creates a severe biological urgency. Apex predators continuously shadow the herd, meaning the adults cannot stop and wait for a newborn to catch its breath. The newborn is given an unforgiving time limit. It has exactly 5 to 10 minutes to master highly complex motor skills, figuring out how to stand up on wobbly legs and immediately accelerate to a full sprint. If it misses that 10-minute window, the consequences are final. It will either be left behind and quickly eaten by predators, or trampled into the dirt by the panicked hooves of its own family. For the wildebeest, mobility is an ultimate pass-or-fail biological test. You either synchronize with the herd immediately, or you are erased from it entirely. But there is another animal that faces an almost mathematically impossible birth scenario, where the odds of making it plummet to 1 in 1,000. A sea turtle hatches buried deep beneath scorching hot sand. Its very first act of life is a frantic upward dig to reach the surface, where the real threat is waiting. Once it breaches the sand, the newborn has to crawl over 100 feet across a wide-open beach that operates as an active, chaotic war zone. It faces a relentless dual-threat bombardment. Hatchlings are continuously picked off from the sky by seagulls, while land predators ambush them from the sides long before they ever touch the ocean water. This grid represents exactly how many are born into this trap. 1,000 hatchlings start the march toward the water. As the shadow of predation sweeps across, 999 are eliminated. Only a single dot remains to reach the waves. With an attrition rate this extreme, the sandy shore acts as an execution block rather than a birthplace. When you zoom out from these individual horror stories, a much grander biological design comes into focus. This mass carnage is nature's highly efficient, incredibly unforgiving evolutionary filter. By forcing every generation through these brutal gauntlets, the ecosystem guarantees that only the absolute fastest, strongest, and most alert individuals are permitted to pass their genes into the food chain. The next time you look at a fully grown mantis, an iguana, or a sea turtle, consider what it took for them to get there. They are elite veterans. These creatures defied mathematically impossible odds and won the ultimate biological lottery on the very first day of their lives.